call our meeting to order. It is 5 o'clock, and we have we have almost all of us here. Marisa Gonzalez-Cooper has already told us she's going to be a little bit late. She'll be here later. So we have Jessica Davila Burnett, Rich Senna, Donna Sharp, myself, Carlin Fryer, Garrett Wilson, and Dr. Joe Tidwell. And we will now be going into closed session to discuss personnel and pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.071, 074, and 082. We're going to deliberation regarding matters related to employment, appointments, resignation, terminations, retirements, and reassignments. It is now 5 o'clock, and we will be going into closed session. Thank you. So that was all of less than a minute. Good evening, everyone. It is 6:35, and we are coming out of our closed session, and we're going to go into open session. And if everyone would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Colors, hope, reason, harm. Order, colors, host. Colors turn, arch.
Okay, board, first thing on our agenda is to approve the agenda. Do I have a motion?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say nay. Motion passes. So, Mr. Benway, we have commendations of students, staff, and community today, don't we?
Yes, ma'am, we do. Thank you, Madam President, Dr. Price, Board of Trustees, our esteemed guests. I say this every month, but this is truly our favorite part of our board meetings, where we get to honor our fantastic student, staff, and our business partners. So if our board members and Dr. Price could come on down, we'll get our commendations started. And we'd like to get a huge round of applause for our first commendation. They are the 2021 UIL Class 5A State Silver Medalist Champion Chargers Girls Cross Country Team. The Chargers completed another stellar season by winning the district and regional championships, and they dominated the rest of the field. At the state meet, senior Kate Williams finished in the top 10 by placing 9th, while senior Chachi Gonzalez finished 11th. The Chargers are a cross-country dynasty. In the last 4 years, they have won 2 state championships and 2 silver medals to set the standard. Congratulations to Coach Jonathan Tate, Coach Jenny Brewer, Coach Cliff Tierney, and to runners Kate Williams, Chachi Gonzalez, Kinley Albright, Josie Whitaker, Grace Flores, Adriana Davenport, and Cameron Neer. Huge hand for the state silver medalists. And if we could have our board up in front to get a photo. And will the parents and supporters of the Chargers please raise your hands or stand up? I know there's some of you here tonight. We appreciate your great support. Take all the pictures that you want. This is a fantastic night. Great job, Chargers. Thank you very much for coming here tonight. And now we have our 2 individual cross-country state qualifiers. I have before you Camden McNair from Champion and Bernie's Eleanor Davis. Let's give them a round of applause. Great job. Eleanor is a freshman at Bernie High. She qualified for the state meet thanks to her strong finish at the regional meet. At the Class 4A state meet, Eleanor finished 49th out of 152 runners. Great job, Eleanor. Camden finished 3rd in the regional meet for the Champion Chargers to qualify for state. While at the state meet, Camden placed 36th out of 152 runners. Joining us here tonight, can we get Coach Tate back up? And we also joined by Greyhounds coach Chris Carter. Let's give a big hand to our state qualifiers. Are the supporters and parents of our great state qualifiers here tonight? If you are, please raise your hands. I know Mom just probably took a picture back there. Great job. Congratulations, and thank you all for coming to support your athletes as well. Great job, both of you. Let's give them one more hand. Our next commendation is the Bertie Middle School South Spanish program. They were selected as a statewide finalist for English language proficiency growth. Will our friends from Bertie Middle School South please come on up and receive your award? Let's have a big hand for our Bertie Middle School South representatives tonight. South was chosen as one of the top 10 middle schools in the state and were selected for this distinguished award based on the Closing the Gaps Domain 3 English Proficiency Indicator Percentage. The indicator rates the progress of emergent bilingual students and long-term students from a year-to-year basis in the areas of listening, speaking, writing, and reading. This is a big stat. From 2019 to 2021, South increased their progress by 30%. That is an outstanding increase. Great job. In addition to Bernie Middle School South, Bernie ISD as a district was also selected as a statewide finalist for this award. Both BISD and Bernie Middle School South were recognized by K-12 Summit at the Texas Association of Bilingual Education Conference in El Paso. Here with us tonight, our South Principal, Jamie Robinson, along with our administration and our teachers. So let's give a huge round of applause for our Bernie Middle School South. Melissa Rangel and Assistant Principal Jared Winkfield are here as well. Let's get a photo with our board and Dr. Price, please. A fantastic achievement. Thank you to Mr. Robinson, Mr. Wingfield, and Ms. Rangel for being here with us tonight. Congratulations. Our next commendations are Champion Advanced Placement students Amber France, Shannon Brewer, and Lyle Rideout. Amber and Shannon have had articles accepted for publication in the Journal for Student Research. A round of applause for these ladies. Amber is publishing a mixed method society on the effectiveness of using virtual reality to improve adolescent public speaking. And Shannon is publishing Competition or Catastrophe, a mixed method study on the influence of copy editing stage. And so these articles are in the copy editing stage and are in the process of publication. This is a fantastic award, and not a lot of students get published in this. So let's give them another great round of applause. A very big honor. But not to be outdone, Lyle Rideout is one of 375 students out of, get this, 24,000 who received a perfect score on her AP research exam. Not only did she receive a 5, but she earned every possible point. That is a rare feat. Let's give Lyle a great round of applause as well. And if we could have a photo with our board and Dr. Price. Do we have the supporters and parents and family of these young ladies here tonight anywhere? Thank you all for being here. We appreciate it. Great job, ladies. Thank you very much for being here. Our next commendation is the Bernie ISD Digital Transformation Cohort, which kicked off last month. Let's have a round of applause. This is a fantastic program, which we'll teach you more about here in just a second. As technology tools continue to be a staple in today's educational setting, the digital learning team has created a new framework for evaluating effective integration of digital tools in the classroom. The mission is to use instructional strategies that are engaging and aligned to learner needs while fostering authentic learning opportunities, building community, and promoting self-directed learning. In August, teachers were given the opportunity to apply for the Digital Transformation Cohort for the opportunity to work with digital learning on the implementation of these strategies. These 17 teachers and representatives from every campus are implementing these practices into lessons over the next few weeks in their classrooms and will be working towards being integration trailblazers on their campus. We appreciate these tech leaders for their willingness to try new things and continue to lead through example. Great job. We look forward to seeing the fruits of your labor. Big round of applause for the Digital Transformation Cohort. Now, if we can have a photo with our board and Dr. Price. Next, we have a very special community partnership recognition, which is the Texas Association of School Boards Business Recognition Program Awards recipients. We will call them up one by one, and then we'll have them all up at the end for a group picture. In 2014, the Texas Association of School Boards established the Stand Up for Texas Public Schools Award to recognize businesses and organizations that stand up for public schools in our community. Tonight, we would like to honor 9 amazing businesses and organizations for being an example in our community. Your willingness to go the extra mile for education is an inspiring testimony to your support of our students, staff, and schools. Your partnership with our school district is meaningful and effective, and we want you to know that we deeply appreciate everything you do to support student success in Bernie ISD. We have 9 fantastic organizations tonight. First up, please welcome from Dog and Pony Grill, owner Joey Boatwright. Come on up, Joey. We can get our pictures, an individual picture with Mr. Boatwright. By the way, both the Greyhound and Charger burgers are fantastic at Dog and Pony, I must say. Up next, Ford of Bernie. Please welcome President of Ford of Bernie, Roland Smith, owner Melissa Smith, Martin Din, General Manager, and Stephen Pollock, Controller. Please come on up to our friends, Ford of Bernie. Please welcome from Frost Bank, the Chiefs the Financial Center Manager Loretta Bernhard and Susie Smith, the Senior Vice President, Frost Bank. Come on down. From GVTC Foundation, Sonia Aguillon, the president of the GVT Foundation, and Chris Cooley, vice president of GVTC Foundation. Please come on up. Let's give a big round of applause. Please welcome from Jefferson Bank, Rob Weller, Senior Vice President, and Tony Sherrill, Banking Center Service Manager. Unfortunately, unable to be here with us tonight, but give a round of applause. Peggy's on the Green, Chef Mark Bohannon. Fantastic job by Peggy's on the Green. Please welcome Randolph Brooks Federal Credit Union, Anna Gorjup, Senior Officer of Business Affairs. Thank you very much. Please welcome the Greater Bernie Chamber of Commerce, the CEO, Kim Blum, and Jolyn Fisher, Board Chair.
We invited 2 board members up.
If you were the chamber, you can do that, by the way. It's okay. And finally, from Toyota of Bernie, please welcome the managing partner and CEO, Sean Vaughn, and Chris Franklin, dealmaker and general manager. Can we get the dealmaker dance? Is that possible, or do you have to pay for that? There we go. And if we could have all of our business partners come back up for a group photo, that would be awesome. So we could have you all together. And let's have a great hand for all of our great business partners here tonight. Thank you for all that you do. One more. And we have a special presentation to close out commendations. This honors the student winners of the United Texas Credit Union Debit Card Art Contest. We have with us tonight United Texas Credit Union CEO Kyle Ashley and Branch Manager Chris Boyles. Please come on up. They're going to recognize 3 students and their art teachers for participating in the United Texas Credit Union Spirit Rewards Card Debit Card Art Contest. They received over 80 submissions for this contest. The 3 winning students are Nathan Maynard, 3rd grader at Kendall Elementary, and his art teacher, Emily Brissett, Peyton Bradford, a 6th grader at Bernie Middle School North, and her art teacher, Jennifer Walden, and Riley Rutherford, 11th grader at Bernie High School, and her art teacher, Darcy Baird. Let's have a hand for our students and their art teachers. We also have with us tonight the president of the Bernie Education Foundation, Sarah Hill, is here, and they are handing out gift cards to our fantastic students. So each student already received a $100 United Texas Credit Union gift card today, and each student will receive a sample card with their artwork on it, which looks so good, and each of their art teachers will receive a $50 United Texas Credit Union debit card. And if you didn't know about this program, it launches Spirit Rewards. When you open a checking account with United Texas Credit Union, every time you use your debit card, a percentage will benefit every student, every teacher, and every school in Bernie ISD. That's fantastic. And a special thanks to Ken Peach, who's here tonight as well. He's our coordinator of fine arts. Come on up, please, Ken. We want to get you in the picture as well. And a big thank you to the Bernie Education Foundation to create this amazing opportunity for our students. So let's get our photos. Are the parents here tonight of our students? If you are, please raise your hands. Thank you so much for being here. This is a fantastic opportunity. Congratulations, great job. Thank you very much. And that concludes our commendation portion of the program. If you're here for commendations and you want to slip out, please feel free to do so. And Madam President, I will yield the floor back to you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Benway, and you're up next again. We are very much looking forward to seeing the Bernie Insider presentation.
Madam President, the Bernie Insider presentation tonight will feature an up-close look at our school resource officers, and also will have a brand new Limelight recipient. So this is the world premiere, if you will, of the Bernie Insider this month's episode. Next on the Bernie Insider, Bernie Middle School South 6th grade student Dylan Howe rides with the district SROs and finds out what they really do. Also, Courtney Bruce recognizes a Herf Elementary student in this month's Limelight. That's all coming up next on the Bernie Insider.
Hello and welcome to the Bernie Insider. I'm Dylan Howe, a 6th grader at Bernie Middle School South. Bernie ISD school resource officers play a large role in our campuses. Their duties go way beyond being a police officer. Bernie ISD has a total of 7 school resource officers, 6 from the Bernie Police Department and 1 from the Kendall County Sheriff's Office. The SROs are assigned to a campus or campuses to help keep our schools safe.
They get involved in our lunch by helping us, and if we ask questions, they'll answer us, and they're just fun to talk to, and they talk to us about our safety.
In addition to bringing a law enforcement presence to our schools, school resource officers have a variety of other roles, including reading to students, acting as a counselor, being a friendly face, making friends with the students, and much more.
I think it's actually really fun because they don't just protect us, but they also try to involve themselves in our activities. Like for Fun in the Sun or Walkathon, they try to cheer us up and they try to get us rolling.
I feel like Officer Peace is a real good friend and all the officers because just they are always smiling, they're always happy, and they're in a good mood, and they're always happy to help.
Some questions that we ask him is like how his equipment works and how much he uses it, and he just always answers our questions, and he's the best friend you could have.
When the Bernie Insider returns, we head to the Bernie Police Department.
Hi, this is Courtney Bruce, and I'm here to recognize this month's Limelight, Bo Chalmers. Bo is a 5th grader from Herf Elementary. Bo has just earned his black belt in martial arts. He says he loves learning martial arts because it teaches him important life lessons like perseverance and kindness. He has been training for 6 years to earn the black belt and is one of a few that have earned a black belt as a 5th grader. According to his teachers, Bo is a very diligent, creative, and respectful student, which fully represents what a Herf Hawk is. And that's why he's this month's Limelight recipient.
If you would like to nominate a student from your school to be the Limelight recipient of the month, email us at communications@bernie-isd.net.
Welcome back. We traveled with Bernie ISD lead school resource officer David Chavez to learn more about his duties. What are the duties of a school resource officer?
The main responsibility of a school resource officer is to protect and serve the people of the campus, including visitors, staff members, especially the students. So that's one thing.
What is your favorite part of being a school resource officer?
My absolute favorite part of being a school resource officer is impacting a student in a positive way, whether it be keeping a good student on track or helping a student in the right direction and seeing that impact progress throughout their educational career throughout the school district. So that is worth more than anything I could ever get paid for. To me, that's the good stuff.
At the Bernie Police Department, we get the grand tour, including seeing the evidence locker, meeting other officers, trying on riot gear, and being sworn in as an honorary officer.
There you go, pull the chain. It'll get easier. There you go. Good job, Dylan.
School resource officers go above and beyond the call of duty, from teaching students about the dangers of drugs to making students feel comfortable at school. They truly are part of the Bernie ISD family. Thank you for watching the Bernie Insider. I'm Dylan Howe.
I think that was pretty cool, right? We have some very special guests tonight that we want to bring up front. First, I want to introduce to you saw him in the limelight, Bo Chalmers. Bo, come on up. We're excited to learn more about you. And we also want to invite from HERF, we want to invite Mrs. Miller, both of them up. Please come on up. Mrs. Beth Miller, the principal, and Mrs. Katie Miller, the assistant principal. They were great in helping us connect with Bo, so come on up. We also want to invite up our amazing school resource officers and hopefully you learned a little bit more about what they do. So we have 7 in the district. 5 of them are here tonight, so please come on down. We have Officer Gomez, Officer Chavez, Officer Pease. We also have Officer Muth and Deputy Moore. Please come on down. Guys do a great job. With us tonight from the Bernie Police Department is the Assistant Chief Perez. So thank you very much for coming out to support us here tonight. Although our host is not here, Dylan Howe from Bernie Middle School South did a great job. His mom said he really wanted to come, but if he missed soccer practice, he couldn't play. So that's where he's at tonight, but he wanted to say hi to everybody. So let's give a round of applause to Dylan Howe, who was an awesome host for the Bernie Insider tonight. And if I could, Madam President and board members, if you have any questions maybe for Bo or for our school resource officers, we'd like to see if you have any.
Nobody would realize that a police officer on campus is doing or helping the students with? Because I imagine it's probably different than being on patrol.
For me, it's mentoring. A lot of people, they see the uniform and they see the badge and the gun, and they automatically assume it's law enforcement, it's things like that, but it's really mentoring students. So, you got anything?
Put me on the spot. No. Yeah, same thing. I mean, honestly, for me, it's just being in there with the kids and talking to them and mentoring them, obviously, and just interacting with them on a day-to-day basis.
One of the things I enjoy the most is when I walk in there, everybody wants to say hi to me. Everybody's excited. So I know when I come in for the day, I got to be on my A game with my smile ready to go because they're going to be expecting that. And same thing along with the mentoring part, when you see someone that's not having such a good day, just going up and talking to them almost automatically makes them turn that frown upside down and they smile.
And Madam President, if I may, we wanted to save the best for last to bring up here because without Hector, we wouldn't have our great school resource officer. So our Director of Safety and Security, Officer Hector Hernandez, we want him to be up in the picture as well. Mr. Fryer?
Before you do the pictures, Bo, I actually have a question for you. So how long have you been training in World Karate to get your black belt?
Since I was 5, actually.
Wow.
And were you done? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, and my question for you about karate, what's the most important lesson you've learned that you could share with us?
I've been asked this question a lot. I think the most important part is just most people think a karate student is the belt. It's actually what's inside of you.
It's a great answer. Mr. Brown would be proud of you.
Really good.
Can we get a photo with our Bernie Insider stars, please? And Bo, I know Mrs. Chalmers is here too, so we want to thank you for bringing Bo and raising a great young man as well. Thank you all very much. Oh, we have to have the official City of Bernie Police Department photo. Thank you very much.
And officers, I just want to, all of us, an extra special thank you. You know, community policing is truly what you do for our students, and you're such a wonderful role model to let our kids and all of us know that you are here to help us. And I know that you run towards things and you take care of things, and we really, truly appreciate each and every one of you. So thank you. Thank you, Mr. Benway, very much. Okay, so next, consider action, if any, regarding audio items discussed in closed session. We had none. Visitor comments are up next. And I just want to thank you for coming and asking to speak. I would like to just quickly read a description here. Just short one. I'm just under our policy, citizens may address the board by signing up just before the meeting. The sign-up sheet for speakers is placed at the entrance, as you know. And then citizens may not address individual personnel concerns or other items that might infringe on the rights and privileges of others. And then there's the rest of that in small print, but I would like to go ahead and ask Susanna Hogan to come up and speak. Good evening. Hey, Brian. Out of the closet. By high school, while I but the reality was I was just unfortunately in the case of my kids, 15 years. The only one. I'm not telling you all this. Think about how they in years Thank you. Okay, next up on our agenda is the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? Your motion and a second. Any further discussion? Then all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say nay. Motion passes. All right, next is governance. Okay, board members, I'm going to ask each of you for a update on your committee. First, we'll start with the legislative. Rich, Jessica, do you have something?
No, nothing for legislative this month.
Okay, next, finance. Carlin, Garrett?
Yeah, so we did meet. We went over a number of things. We went over the quarterly investment report this month and talked about the current state of interest rates and how interest rates are just low, and lamented that some just year to year as far as our yield on our returns or the returns on our investment portfolio. We also went over the annual comprehensive financial report, and that's something we're going to discuss here tonight. And also had a presentation from our accounting firm Weaver with their audit, and reviewed their audit findings, which were I would say we're good. We didn't have any surprises in the audit, so that's important. The things that were maybe cautionary points were self-identified by the district and district personnel, so that was the positive note. And then we also discussed the appraisal districts that Bernie ISD is in, as far as Comal County and Bexar County and Kendall County, and then voting for the trustees for those appraisal districts, and especially for Kendall County, which was covered in the consent agenda as far as who we're appointing for the Kendall County Appraisal District.
Very good.
Yeah, the only thing I would add, just kudos to Mr. Scott and his team. The quarterly investment report is self-produced for the first time. We've had consultants that have done that for us in the past, so that's no longer being done externally. It's being done internally, and very much the same with the annual comprehensive financial report. Great document put together by your team, so thank you for bringing that in-house.
Thank you both. All right, next, the whole child committee. Do we have a meeting this month?
Yes, we've had 2 meetings this year. At our first meeting, they went over the strategic plan from all their findings from last year. And then from our recent meeting, they simulated a training that BISD staff received on the whole child, tenants in grade 8, and also all the multi-tiered systems of support. And our committee consists of parents, staff. Carlin and I are on that committee, and just seeing all the programs that they're implementing this year is great.
Joe, Dr. Tidwell, anything? Yes, about technology?
Yep. One of the things, and you'll get a presentation tonight, but one of the things I thought was interesting that we discussed was esports. My first reaction to esports is my kid plays too many video games already. Why would we do that in school? And but I think there's some really good things you're going to hear, including one of the things that I liked was the fact that, well, one, from a practical side, it really effectively doesn't cost anything. It's an extracurricular activity. But 2, it really brings all different kinds of kids together to participate. So it's not like it's not just people sitting on computers or tablets and playing games. It's team oriented and group oriented, and the games cut across every type of student that you have. Right. So whether they're jocks or more studious folks, or I guess it implies jocks aren't. I should probably watch how I talk. But I thought that was one of the best things about it. And also there are some things like regular sports that it teaches as well, as far as finishing things through and controlling your emotions. And one thing that I was surprised about, I think, make sure I'm not speaking out of turn, this is UIL is actually looking at making these UIL activities. Is that correct, Patty? Okay. So that's coming up anyway. So it was. I thought it was pretty interesting. And then we'll also hear a little later on E-rate funding and things like that are going gangbusters like they have been. So
is the esports, is that just with Bernie ISD? students, or is that students across other districts?
Well, what Patty's going to talk about is how we're starting to set that up, and it's a couple different things, right? So there's kind of the esports, and there's also to get kids at a young age interested in our science and technology track, things like things that a lot of students have access to, but not everybody, even things like Minecraft from a young age, or those types of environments, getting them to build things and teaching them to build in those environments to get them interested in computers, interested in robotics. Because one of the things we are trying to do is just increase our overall interest in science and technology, engineering, and what have you. So I think it's a pretty great idea.
Maritza, Bernie Education Foundation.
Yes, ma'am. Let's see. This past Friday, the BEF Prize Parade handed out 92 big checks to BISD Teacher Innovation Grant winners for a total of $152,500. Wow, super amazing. So thank you to BEF and everyone that's helped out with that. Tomorrow is our second annual BEF Giving Day. It's a 24-hour online giving day to support the success of BISD students. You can make a donation now through midnight tomorrow night by visiting befgivingday.org. BISD, BF, and the BHS softball team partnered to donate over 620 cans of corn to the GVTC Thanksgiving Feast. This event provides a Thanksgiving meal to families in our area. So thank you to everyone that helped with that. And then also our Purse Mania 2.0 is coming up on Thursday, December 2nd. Thankfully, it is sold out, and it's going to be a great evening for all the ladies and maybe a couple of gentlemen. Not sure what we've got in store this year. On Friday, December 3rd, BISD and BEF partner each year to host Cookies and Cocoa. We'll have cookies, cocoa, and student performances throughout the day, and you can donate an unwrapped toy to the Blue Santa, and he'll be delivering toys to children in Kendall County right before Christmas. So thank you to everyone who helps out with this. This is just a community event we can't do without everyone's help, so thank y'all.
Thank you very much. I'm checking to see my mic's on, but it's being taken care of for me back there, so thank you. Instructional Programs Committee did not meet this month, but I think we have a meeting scheduled for December. And then Facilities, Maritza and Rich, you have something?
Yeah, we met on November 9th, and we had three main focus of attention. One was the drainage project at Bernie High School. MTR engineers gave a very in-depth presentation on the needs and what kind of timeline it would require to fix the drainage and flooding issues at that school, and also what would be in line with local and federal jurisdictional approvals, and what was needed for the platting and so forth, and how that would also tie into any proposed stadium improvements on the same campus. So that was one. The drainage project was one. We got an overview of the stadium conceptual design update as part of a potential project to be included in a 2022 bond. And lastly, just a brief discussion on a contractual update with SFE, which is our food service management company. So those are the three things that we focused on.
Thank you very much. Safety and security. Eric, Carlin?
I'll take care of this one. So we met at the end of October. Discussion items centered around kind of just general campus security, some projects that we've completed. There's an improved visitor and emergency management system, and then a reunification system that we've implemented now to help in the event of a mass evacuation and how we get students and parents back together. And then next we talked about our emergency operations plan. 3 areas that we did some either significant changes or updates had to do with our district safety plan, the continuity of operations plan, and then our communicable disease annex, part of the overall plan. And then actually at the end there was great discussion and just among the law enforcement and SROs that were present about we had some reports of increased violations related to around our bus routes and traffic violations, and law enforcement becoming aware of those, and their increased enforcement has taken care of some of those situations. So it's great to have the support of the law enforcement.
Our camera's real helpful with that one.
Very helpful, yes. Clear identification of violations.
Communications Committee. Okay, and I think last, transportation, anything, Rich?
Well, I'd like to say we're rounding third base on what's been a 2-year project. The committee has developed a lot of, as I mentioned in previous meetings, a lot of suggestions for local improvements to local transportation problems. And as we come to the close with the goal of producing a report for the City Council and Candler County Commissioners by the end of the year, we'll be delving into some more controversial topics. The goal of the committee is not to resurrect Loop, although that seems to be a common rumor out there, but rather look besides basic and minor traffic improvements, what can be done to eliminate traffic as we grow. So I have no idea where that's going to take us. So it should be an interesting next 2 or 3 meetings.
Well, I appreciate you representing us on that important committee. Next, so Dr. Price, do you have an update for us?
Just very quickly, we're continuing to grow in numbers of enrollment, and one of the things we've seen over the past 6 weeks is our attendance is starting to look more like normal. What we see, what I thought was remarkable, the two of the middle schools, South and Voss, had the top attendance rates for our schools, and usually you don't see that at middle schools. Usually it's some of the elementary schools, but those 2 schools led the way, so it's great news. That's it.
All right, well, that brings us to our early childhood programs report. Ms. Flores?
Good evening. Ms. Renee Munn, our early childhood director, will be presenting on our programming.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam President, Dr. Price, Board of Directors, for this opportunity to speak to you this evening. As an item of information, I'd like to share how our early childhood programs are preparing students for success. We will begin by talking about our pre-kindergarten program. We have 3 pathways to pre-K. Students can qualify as state eligible pre-K when they are 4 years old by September 1st of the current school year and meet a state eligibility requirement such as educationally disadvantaged, homeless, or military connected. We also have early childhood special education students who are 3 or 4 years of age and meet eligibility as determined by their ARD committee. And then we also have our early childhood collaboration program, which is our tuition-based pre-K for BISD staff members. All of our regular pre-K classrooms include a full day program. However, some of our ECSE students can be half day or full day, just depending on what their ARD determines. We have 225 students, with about half of those students identified as state eligible pre-K. Of those state eligible pre-K, about 33% qualify as emergent bilinguals. About 20% are military connected, and about 16% have or have been in the foster care system. We have just a few students identified as homeless, and the rest qualify as economically disadvantaged. The other half of our pre-K enrollment includes our tuition-based students and our early childhood special education students. Very exciting, our enrollment in pre-K has increased by 8%, which means we are giving more students a foundation in learning by preparing them for kindergarten and beyond. As part of our high-quality early childhood classroom, we have Frog Street pre-K curriculum resource, both for 3 and 4-year-olds in English and Spanish. It's a comprehensive, research-based program. It integrates instruction across all developmental domains and early learning disciplines. We strive to have a joyful and engaging approach to learning. Did you know that 24% of a young learner's time is spent in transitions? That means we must integrate learning throughout the day. For instance, walking in the hall now becomes an opportunity to improve oral language, and time on the playground can be purposeful and fun, but also a time to improve social and emotional learning, problem-solving strategies, and gross motor development. In pre-K, we assess at the beginning, middle, and end of the year. Assessments inform our instruction and help students identify, or help teachers rather, identify goals for students and plan appropriate activities to reduce gaps and improve the readiness skills in kinder. Our approach to assessment includes both quantitative and qualitative data collection to ensure we have a holistic view of student strengths and areas of need. We report our data to TEA and continually strive to improve our programming for student success. Our teachers. HB3 or House Bill 3 requires us to ensure our students are taught in a high quality learning environment. That includes teachers that are appropriately certified. We also strive to maintain an appropriate staff to student ratio. Our pre-K teachers also participate in mentoring and coaching, which is considered a best practice in early childhood. We also know the importance of family engagement. Engaging families in children's education is a vital component to building strong relationships between our staff and families and providing opportunities to support skill development from school all the way to home. Our campuses plan purposeful activities to engage our students, build relationships, and of course, the sense of community. As part of House Bill 3, I'd like to also share information with you about the Texas Reading Academies. According to the Texas Commission on Public School Finance, 40% of Texas students lack kinder readiness, and in 2018, 4 in 10 students met the state's third grade reading standard. In 2017, Texas children ranked 48th in the country in fourth grade reading proficiency. Reading at grade level by third grade is crucial because it is when students transition from learning to read to reading to learn. TEA has conducted many studies that show how many educators are not prepared to provide evidence-based reading instruction, assess student learning, and adjust instruction based on student needs. Using what we know about the science of teaching reading can improve student success. To help understand the complexity of teaching reading, we can use Scarborough's rope to help us visualize the complexity of learning to become a skilled reader. Skilled reading is not possible without language comprehension, which is that ability to understand spoken language, and word recognition, also known as foundational reading skills. A reader might have strong oral language skills or extensive background knowledge on a topic, for example, but if the student can't read the words on the page, it may affect their ability to understand or learn from a book on that topic. The converse is true. A student who easily decodes a word, but who has never heard the word or doesn't know the meaning of the word, that student's going to struggle with comprehension as well. Scarborough's rope looks at language comprehension and word recognition as two strands that twist together into a strong rope of a skilled reader. Instruction can prevent or connect this or correct it, but we need all teachers to be skilled in supporting reading in the early grades. The Texas Reading Academies is not only appropriate for reading teachers, but all core content teachers need to have this understanding, as well as our administrators supporting young learners. Therefore, all Texas Reading Academies include our K through third grade teachers and our administrators. Texas Reading Academy participants will complete 60 hours of professional learning in a school year. Participants must demonstrate a minimum mastery score of 80% on all graded assignments, artifacts, and discussions. Our participants here in Bernie ISD are receiving 10 days of face-to-face instruction, learning blended with online modules, and job-embedded coaching sessions throughout the school year. Last year, we trained principals, first and third grade teachers, and our elementary instructional coaches. This year, we've added kinder and second grade teachers, new first and third grade teachers and administrators, as well as some of our special population teachers. Next year, we will plan to train all required staff in K through third that are new or just have not previously completed the learning. We also know that House Bill 3 prioritizes early literacy and is intended to improve reading outcomes. HB 3 requires teachers to not only attend and successfully complete the Texas Reading Academies, but additionally ensure that we are using an explicit and systematic phonics continuum in the early grades. As author and literacy expert Louisa Motes said in a recent conversation regarding literacy, now that Texas educators have had the opportunity to engage deeply in the research-based literacy instruction, there is a new urgency to deliver powerful, accelerative, and effective resources to support this learning. We began that process last year through a collaborative committee of teachers and campus leaders to identify a phonics curriculum resource that provides that systematic and explicit word study and spelling instruction. The committee overwhelmingly chose 95% core phonics as a preferred resource to deliver that instruction. And we implemented that in first grade. This resource helps us ensure that students are receiving the science-based phonics instruction that they need. It is good for all learners, from those with gaps to those reaching ahead. Teachers were provided professional learning and continue to engage in opportunities to work with their instructional coach to refine their delivery of the lessons. The energy and excitement of teachers in first grade has been phenomenal. As a result, we hope to bring these resources to kinder and second grade next year and third grade by 23-24. Thank you for this opportunity to share information about our early grades. Please let me know if you have any questions.
The question I have, and this sounds wonderful, and I'm so glad that you have so many going through the training and you're going to bring so many more through. So thank you for doing that. And I know how important it is, of course, at the early age to catch these kids and help them along their way. My question is about dyslexia. And how does this teach the audience that you're teaching about how to recognize that?
That's an excellent question. As a former dyslexia therapist, that was probably one of the first things I looked at when we looked at what were the learning standards for the Texas Reading Academies. Dyslexia identification is important, which is embedded within those modules, as well as support. What would a teacher do with a student who has red flags for dyslexia? How do I support that student, especially within the classroom? Because we can put students in an intervention program, which we should, right? But then we also want our teachers in the classroom to know how to best support their student. And so that information and instruction is embedded in the modules. And additionally, our dyslexia teachers throughout the elementary campuses will also be participating in the reading academies beginning next year.
Thank you.
I just have one question. So I think one of the things we had in the community that a lot of people don't know is more people are technically classified as homeless than probably most people would imagine, particularly transient populations like at the women's shelter and things like that. Do we reach out and work with those groups to help them? I know not recent years, but a number of years ago, I just remember hearing that paperwork at least is not the easiest thing in the world, particularly for people in those situations to get done, and then pre-K would be very helpful to them. Just so kind of wondering how do we interact or connect with those transient populations, homeless?
I know Tammy Sherrist in our federal programs office leads us in identification of homeless. So I probably am not the best person to speak big picture. I can speak about it, especially in pre-K, because we are looking for a state eligibility, and sometimes homeless is one of those eligibility areas. So I know I work closely with the registrars on when paperwork is submitted, what questions to ask, how can we help support and identify. Homeless isn't just not having a home. There's other ways to qualify and be identified as homeless that would help meet that eligibility.
Thank you.
Mine's kind of in the same vein. I had a question on the ECSE program and really just the onboarding process for the whole pre-kindergarten program. How does that typically happen? So you can start at age 3 or 4, it looks like, and do the parents typically bring the kids to the district, or does the district have a way of identifying? How do parents know that program is out there and available, and how do we get the kids into it?
For early childhood special education, our ECSE students, we work closely with the early service providers like ECI. And so a lot of our referrals are through those ECI services. They will refer children to the district, also pediatricians, other community organizations in the district. Annie Sider, who's our special education director, she works continually throughout the year to send information out, provide information on making that service more available and more known about. It is 3 is 3, so if a student qualifies for ECSE based on that R determination, they would qualify at 3 years old. So it doesn't matter if they're 3 September 1st or 3 January 1st. Once they turn 3, if the ARD committee determines that they qualify for that service, we provide it.
That's good. That's a good program.
It's fantastic. And I failed to mention earlier, which you helped me remind myself, is our pre-K program is unique to this region. We're a fully inclusive program, so we mix our early childhood special education students with our state eligible and our tuition based. It's unlike any other in this area. I have not yet to find another district nearby that has a fully inclusive program.
You know, Renee, that was mentioned in the program or in one of the bullet points, and that was going to be a question I was going to ask. What do you see as the benefits of that? Because I know a few years ago we put the program in each of the elementary schools. What do you see as the major benefits of that?
Access to typically developing peers, but also for typically developing peers to have access to those who are not at the same developmental level. It goes both ways. Students need to interact with all students and become aware, cognizant, accepting of everyone's sames and difference. So it is really allows students to interact in a very special way, builds language, communication, problem solving, acceptance.
That's great. Thank you. And the other question I had was it mentioned equipping families with tools to enhance and extend learning. Could you expand on that? What are some examples of that?
So our campuses offer, and each campus is unique, so they develop their own family engagement plans, but it could be family literacy nights where we're bringing in families to encourage and promote the use of reading to students. It could be our parent conferences at elementary. We don't often think of those as avenues to develop family engagement, but they really are. It allows that teacher to have one-on-one time with a parent, share strengths and weaknesses of their student, and then offer advice, suggestions on how to help their student grow at home. Every campus participates in different events, but a lot of it is either modeling, sharing, promoting, suggesting different ways to build that school-to-home connection.
Good job fielding a bunch of questions you didn't expect, by the way.
Yes, thank you
Anytime.
very
Thank you.
much, Ms. Munn. We
I have one
appreciate
quick
it.
question. Sorry. So is it right now it's one classroom in every elementary?
Great question. So eh, we have 2 classrooms at every campus with the exception of Fair Oaks. So some of our campuses have an English and Spanish classroom. Some have 2 English. So we are definitely growing because just a short time ago, we had just 1 classroom on each campus. So we are definitely growing.
And you see it growing some more in the future?
Yes, from last year to this year, we grew 8%. So if we keep up with that trajectory, I anticipate us to continue to need to prepare to serve more students.
And the breakdown, is it, I guess you showed us a breakdown of how many are in each different.
Yeah, about half of our students are state eligible pre-K, and then a proportion of tuition-based and early special education special ed.
Okay. The kids are mixing well, everything's fine. Great.
Yes, please. Anytime you guys want to come visit a classroom, we'd love to open the doors. It's a wonderful opportunity. You may not want to leave though.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. All right, next up, Dr. Stewart. Talk to us about the calendar process. Yes, ma'am.
Calendar committee is upon us. So we have convened, this is if you'll remember, a subcommittee of DEIC. We have elementary and middle school folks that are representing different groups, teachers, administrators, parents. We have, of course, district level folks on there as well. We have met 3 times. They have looked at law. They've looked at other local districts that have published their 22-23 calendar already to get some, starting points. They came up with approximately 15 or 16. Some of those were not viable. We narrowed it down to 6. We submitted those to Cabinet last week, so Cabinet's had a chance to look at it. Today we sent it out to PTO presidents, to, the DEIC itself, the big group. We've sent it to staff advisory, and I'm missing one. Thank you, student advisory. That's correct. So those 4 groups have it as of this morning. Y'all will have it as soon as the board meeting is finished tonight. You'll be receiving that from Jennifer. At that point, we'll get information from all those different groups, narrow the 6 down to 2. We'll publish those out in K-12 Insight, which is our survey platform that we use, and that will be posted for 2 weeks to collect votes from the community. We'll bring it to you at the December board meeting with a recommendation.
Are we, I can't remember if I remember this correctly, were we going to move to approving more than 1 year at a time? Or are we still going to be annually? We're going to do this every year for the following year?
We have been doing it because, just about every time that we've approved the calendar, we a lot of times have to come back and make a switcheroo on something. If we want to look at 2 years at a time, we can. We just need to always go into that with the realization that we may have to do some switching if they do assessment date changes or anything along those lines.
Any other questions? Thank you very much. Okay, Ms. Hullab.
Good evening, President Sharp, Dr. Price, members of the board. It's my pleasure this evening to give you an overview of the E-rate program and Bernie ISD's intent to participate, as well as an overview of our compliance with the Children's Internet Protection Act. This initiative aligns with our scorecard, specifically with student success and fiscal responsibility. I'll give an overview of what the E-rate program is. This is a program for schools and libraries to provide discounts on internet access and telecommunications services. There's 5 different types of services or hardware that are funded, and that's data transmission service, internet access, internal connections, managed internal broadband services, and basic maintenance of internal connections. School districts can qualify for discounts that range from 20 to 90%, and this is based on the district's free and reduced lunch percentages. Eligible school districts and schools may apply individually or as part of a consortium. BISD applies individually, and oversight is provided by the FCC. Each year, the FCC releases an eligible services list, and there are typically a few variances, but not very many. The main point I want to make tonight is that there's two categories of funding, and they each have their own rules for the application process. So there's Category 1 services, and this is for data transmission and internet access. So all of our connections out to the internet and between our sites fall under that category. And Category 2 services, and this is all cabling, hardware, and services that get us connected to that network. Based on the current discount matrix, Bernie ISD qualifies for a 50% discount for both Category 1 and Category 2 services because of our free and reduced lunch rate and because we qualify as a rural district. For Category 1 funding, there is no budget limit, so we can apply for as much service as we like. We can do multi-year contracts, and our non-instructional facilities are eligible for these discounts as well. So this includes our central office and our admin buildings as well as our campuses. For Category 2 funding, it gets a little more complicated. The district has a 5-year pre-discount budget based on the number of students in the school district. So our current Category 2 budget windows is from 2021 to 2026. This used to be a sliding window based on when you first applied for Category 2 funding. Now it is a set window, and so that budget is set for this time frame. It can be used in 1 year or over any of the 5 years, and multi-year contracts are not allowed, so we have to bid every year for this hardware and these services. And non-instructional facilities are not eligible for discounts on Category 2 services. The only exception is our data center because it serves the campuses, so we can apply for hardware for our data center. When the FCC calculates our Category 2 budgets, it's based on a set amount per student. This used to increase every year for inflation, but with the new guidelines, they are setting it for the 5-year window, and that amount is $167 per student. So our overall budget for E-rate for the 5-year window for Category 2 is $1.7 million. I'll go over our prior year funding requests, and different rules applied in the past. They've changed the way they do the windows, the way they do the funding, but this is our historical look at what funding we have requested since 2016. You'll see a breakdown by Category 1 and Category 2. So every year we apply for our WAN circuits. That's an annual cost we have, whether we're funded or not. And then Category 2 is typically contingent on whether funds are available through bond or whether we're building a new school or something of that nature, and we apply for funding to support the hardware that's purchased for those sites. For the 2022 E-rate budget year, which is the 22-23 school year, we have engaged Region 12 to be our E-rate consultant. This is a new consultant that we're using this year. For Category 1, we will be applying for internet service and for our circuits to our campuses. Our 3-year contract with GVTC is expiring, so we need to rebid that. It'll be a multi-year contract, so it'll be 1 year with 4 one-year renewals or 3 year with 2 one-year renewals, depending on the pricing. And we'll have multiple options for the amount of bandwidth that we will have from the district to the internet and from the sites back to us. This will allow us to increase our bandwidth as needed as we go through the years of the contract. Currently, our internet pipe is up to 5 gig, and internally, we have Champion High School at 3 gig, Bernie High School at 2 gig, all other sites at 1 gig. and our central office at 5 Geek to support all of that traffic, since it all culminates back here at this building. For Category 2, we will be bidding for network equipment refreshes at our legacy campuses, and those are listed here. These are campuses where the network equipment was last refreshed in 2016. And so these are the data switches, wireless access points, and wireless switches that get those campuses connected to the network. So we can apply for these services, and if we're awarded, funding will be accepted contingent on having funds available to support those initiatives moving forward. So our current timeline for this process, we're in the process of developing our bids now for both Category 1 and Category 2 requests. We're looking at having these items on the agenda for the February board. The E-rate submission window closes in March. They haven't published the date yet, but it's typically towards the end of March. And moving forward, we will begin our Category 1 services on July 1st of 22, because our current contract ends on June 30th. And then Category 2, we will proceed based on E-rate award and funding being available through our bond. The next section is just to cover BISD compliance with the Children's Internet Protection Act. It is a requirement to participate in the E-rate program that we comply with the Children's Internet Protection Act. So we are giving an overview on internet safety policy, including measures to block or filter internet access for students. So BISD currently has an acceptable use policy for staff and students. We have internet filtering through a Palo Alto firewall and a Content Keeper web filter. We've had that in place for 3 years now. Our filter settings are in place for both students and staff, with stronger restrictions on students. This filter is updated daily by the provider. And we also have the ability to block sites as they are reported to us as new sites become available. If the company is not blocking it yet, we can go in and proactively block it ourselves. And you'll see samples of categories of types of internet traffic that we currently block with our filter in compliance with the Children's Internet Protection Act. And that's the end of my presentation. I'll open it up for questions.
Is this federally funded?
It is, through the Federal Communications Commission.
So my question is, if bond funding is not available, what issues do you foresee us having to manage?
So our network equipment at our legacy campuses will continue to age. We'll continue to support it. One of the good things about E-rate funding is when you bid under that auspice, then they have to provide you the cheapest price that they would offer any of our competitors. So we could choose to still use those bids if we needed to, if there was equipment that we needed to purchase, or we would just continue to maintain the equipment at those campuses, as we can moving forward.
Which is a concern because it's been since 2016.
It is. At some point, we continue to get updates. At some point, it does become a bigger security concern once the equipment's no longer supported by the manufacturer.
And then as far as the funding request, you had just a little bit left over each year, a couple of years there. Does that roll over or does it just go away?
That's typically, we ask for the amount of funds that we think we'll need, and if we don't use that amount, that's typically a bandwidth charge. And so if we don't use that amount because we're not seeing that level of traffic, then those funds are remaining.
Any other questions? Thank you very much. Okay, we're ready for some our action section. Yes, Mr. Scott. assistance is coming your way.
All right. Sorry.
It's on button.
Okay. You have been presented to you a report on the results of operations for the district through October 31st, 2021. The report is the most notable thing about the report, of course, is that this is the first month we get collections on our 2021 levy. That information did come in late and was not provided to you. I actually got it this afternoon, and we got about 75 million in collections in October. That was 73 million in payments and 2.2 million in discounts, which is about 71% of our levy. Bernie taxpayers love their early payment discount. So other than that, we got 127,000 in donations. 91,000 of that was from the Bernie Education Foundation and in accordance with their fall disbursements, and we're certainly thankful to the Bernie Education Foundation. There is a small budget amendment in that report as well. If there are any other questions on the reports for the month of October, I would be happy to entertain those.
Yeah, I have a question. It's on the special revenue funds page. Big infusion in the last few months. Is that the ESSER money?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's a lot more. Obviously, ESSER is kind of a one-time infusion, but that won't all be spent this year, correct?
That'll be spent over a 3-year period.
Okay, so I thought. Thanks. So basically, because we'll spend some of it this year, there'll be a fund balance at the end of the year that'll just carry over.
Yeah, let me clarify that the amounts that you're seeing as budgetary amendments are for this year.
Yeah.
So there's about, if I remember off the top of my head, about 5.5 million plus in ESSER funds that we'll spend over the next 3 years.
Okay.
If there are no other questions, I will listen for a motion.
Madam President, I move to approve the budget amendments, donation report, and tax collection report as presented.
A motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say nay. Motion passes 7-0. Okay, Mr. Scott.
All right. You have been provided with a copy of the annual comprehensive financial report for the year ended June 30th, 2021. That report has been audited by Weaver along with our internal controls. Weaver did present on that in Finance Committee as was reported out by Mr. Wilson. The gentleman with the actual beard sitting back here is Adam McCain. He's a partner with Weaver and was a partner on this account. He's here if you have specific questions about the audit itself. He'll be happy to come up and answer those questions. But I wanted to point out a few things about the report itself, and then if you have any questions, I think it would be a really good idea just for me to just read it through from beginning to end. I think that'd be a great way to know. Okay.
What do you think about that, Dr. Tidwell?
It is a 122-page report for ease of navigating that report in PDF. It has been bookmarked, so that has those bookmarks have a link to all of the basic categories of the financial statements, and the table of contents itself is linked. So all you have to do is click on the title or the page number in the table of contents. It'll take you where you need to go. This is a little bit different from reports that you've seen before. I'll point out some of the new things, and I'll point out a couple of numbers I want you to be sure you're aware of. And if you have any questions, we will dive in. In a comprehensive report, one of the one of the items that is not in a regular annual financial report is the transmittal letter. That's in the introductory section on page 8. That is a non-financial report. It would tell a reader, a reader should have a fairly decent basic picture of the district in reading the transmittal letter. I would encourage you to take a look at that. On page 20 is the opinion. That is an unqualified opinion. That is what we paid Mr. McCain and his team to come and provide to us. On page 26 is management's discussion and analysis. That is not new. It is just a really good summary of in a written format of the financial operations of the district for that period. And I would encourage you to take a look at the management's discussion and analysis. On page 33 is the government-wide net position. That's a one-page balance sheet picture of the district where all funds are presented on a full accrual basis. And the thing that I want you to note on that is the overall net position of the district at year end was a negative $4 million. That is not new to Bernie nor new to Texas school districts. Most Texas school districts have a negative net position on a government-wide basis. The primary reason for that is the net pension liability and the net other post-employment liability that represents our proportionate share of TRS care that GASB 68 and GASB 75 so graciously foisted upon us. Those are actual liabilities of the state, but a picture of our proportionate share, so that its negative number is not actually a concern to Bernie ISD. If it wasn't for those approximately $40 million in liabilities, we would have a pretty net position. On page 74 is the budgetary comparison for the general fund. This is a forgive me, I'm going to have to reopen the report myself. That is the actual results, and thank you, Santi. If you'll scroll down to the second page of that report, please. So these are the actual results compared to budget for the general fund. On that, you'll see that we budgeted a $2.9 million deficit. We had talked extensively throughout the year about what we were going to do with recaptures. It went up and down and up and down, and the decision was to leave that budget at approximately 1.7 million. So of course it came in at almost 2.2 million, and you'll see that that's the only budgetary over expenditure of just under $500,000 on function 91 there. The overall results of the district for the general fund, we came in at a deficit of 1.33 million as opposed to the budgeted deficit of 2.9. And that left us, when it was all said and done, with a fund balance of $19.5 million. That deficit was planned. If you'll remember, we had a number of one-time expenditures that account for most of that deficit. On page 88 is the statistical section. This is the what really differentiates a comprehensive annual financial report from a standard annual financial report. There's a wealth of information here. Most of this is in a 10-year history format. I don't have anything particular to say about any one schedule, except to say I would just encourage you to take a look at what's there. There's a lot of good information. If you have any questions about that information, please let me know. This report will be submitted to either to the Government Finance Officers Association and or the Association for School Business Officials for award and financial reporting. There are a lot of folks here in attendance today. I believe sitting behind me is Jake Smiley, our Director of Business Services. On the front row here is Jocelyn Baumgartner, our Assistant Director, and I believe Anna Webb, our Payroll Manager, is sitting here as well. They all put a lot of hard work and effort into this report. One person that I wish could be here with us today is Miss Joan Wiley. She's as responsible as anybody else for helping compile this 10-year history for these statistical reports. There's not hardly anybody sitting at the dais that didn't contribute substantially to this report. So we're very thankful for the hard work that went into that. And with that being said, if there's any questions about the report itself or the audit, I would be happy to entertain those.
Scott, I don't really have any other questions. I've been fortunate enough to sit through this presentation twice now.
Yeah.
It's, again, commend you and the team for the preparation of this. Mr. McCain, thank you for your comments and things at our Finance Committee meeting. On the statistical section, I do find that really, really interesting. I think when we start getting closer into the bond next year, there's some great charts and graphs in there specifically related to tax rates and things that I think would be very beneficial for public knowledge and consumption. So.
All right. That's enough action for tonight. Thank you.
So if there are no more questions, I will entertain a motion.
I move to approve the annual comprehensive financial report for the year ended June 30th, 2021, as presented by the administration.
I have a motion and I have a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Those who oppose, say nay. Motion passes 7-0. Thank you very much, Mr. Scott. All right, future business items. December 13th is our next board meeting. There will be our scorecard quarterly report, new course approval, and then we'll have the opportunity to take a look at the calendar that is going to win the vote, I suppose, and decide on approving that calendar. So I will then now take a motion to adjourn our meeting. Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. Motion passes 7-0. Meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.